Hello and welcome to the Embroidered Elephant podcast. My name is Kimberly and I will be talking about my crochet makes. Thank you for joining me firstly. I believe this is episode number 5 and I've got quite a bit to talk to you about. I'm going to try not to look too much into the little side bit. I don't want to concentrate on myself, but it's very easy to do if you ever tried to film yourself. So yeah, after that short little introduction, I hope that you are all well. I know that obviously we're in, if you live in England, we are still in lockdown and it feels like it's been lasting forever. And I'm sort of in the stage now where I know that it's for our health. I know that it's to keep everyone safe. But it's just lasting so long, isn't it? So I hope that you're not all going stir crazy and that you're able to stay safe, all of you. And that you're getting plenty of time to have some down activities, whether you're into reading or crochet or knitting or sewing or anything. You've just got something as a little escape. So yeah, the first things that I am going to go over are my finished crochet makes. This month I've been a bit busy. I haven't got too much to show for it, I don't think. In terms of the shop, I've sold a few bags, but I haven't really been concentrating on it, to be honest. I've sort of run out of steam a bit. So yeah, I've run out a bit of steam just because, well, along with a long list of excuses. I don't know if I've said this before, but my sewing corner, that is where I do all of my sewing, that messy little corner there. And although I love it, there's enough room. I wouldn't say there's plenty of room, but there's enough room for me to get my feet under, obviously have my foot on the foot pedal, different things like that. But it is freezing, especially in this cold January weather. We had snow last weekend. Again, if you're in the UK, you probably had some as well. So deciding to put myself in that freezing cold corner where I have to wrap up in blankets, it just doesn't seem very appealing, to be completely honest. So yeah, I haven't done much for the shop. But obviously it's still open. If you see anything that you like, please feel free to get in touch or to just order it on my Etsy. If you are buying from watching the podcast, it would be great if you could sort of write that in the notes, because I'd love to get in touch with you. Right, I feel that I've rambled on a little bit, so I will start with what I've made this month. I forgot to say as well, I did start filming a video about my Stashless 2021. You might follow me on Instagram. If you don't and you have no idea what I'm talking about, what I'm planning on doing is using all of my stash this year. So before I buy any more yarn, because I've got quite a bit, I'm hoping to get through at least half of my stash. So I didn't film the process, but I counted all of the yarn I own, whether it's in a skein, whether it's in a ball, whether it's in a cone, all the odd little bits as well. Yeah, I counted everything and I've got 70 in total. So I need to get through 35 of those before I can buy any more. Preferably I won't buy any more. But if I see something I really like, I'm not purposely going to avoid it if I've got a project in mind for it. And obviously if it's gifted, brilliant. Brilliant if it's gifted, or if I find it, that's also fine. It's just more about a money and space sort of thing. Me and my partner are looking to move out at some point this year, hopefully towards the start of this year, as in the sooner rather than later. So we need, I don't know how much space I'll have when we move. Obviously I don't know where we're moving with this lockdown sort of thing. I don't know, I have no sort of time frame for it, but obviously I will need some space in the flat. I won't have room for a big stack of 70 balls and skeins and cones and everything like that. Probably not anyway. So yeah, yeah, I had 70 skeins and balls, which is quite a lot. Not sure whether I was that surprised, but what I'm planning on doing is at the end of every month I will put a new sort of total of what I've got, the projects I used to get there. So I'm filming this on the 31st, so I will so I'll be putting that up today. And out of 70 in January I have used where are you? I've used 14, which is really good going, and I will be going through how much I've used for each project as I go. So after that I will be starting. Yeah, no, I've had a good month. Obviously I've been very productive, and there are a few I've got quite a few projects lined up. So one of them, for example, I've got 5 balls of red acrylic from Hobbii yarns, I think, and I'm looking to use that for pyjamas. Really random, but I saw a tutorial from Emma P and it looks really easy, so I'm going to give it a go. What's the worst that could happen? I think I'm going to start with the shorts, because I don't know how, I always have this problem, I don't know how much yarn is needed for each project. So I will start with the shorts, and then if I don't manage to make the top, then that's less of a loss, if that makes sense. Right, I'm digressing again. I haven't spoken to many people about crochet, if you can't tell. Not for a while. Right, so the first project that I finished, this is a absolutely massive jumper I made for my partner. He's worn it quite a lot, so it's crinkled. It's the same as mine, obviously, but with one colour. So my one was made with scrap yarn. You can see I've done the ribbon at the top, which I didn't do for mine, and you'll see it's a lot bigger as well. So the reason that it is so big, he loves it, he doesn't mind it at all. It's comfy, he can put it over his jumpers, he wears jumpers a lot. This is the first jumper I've made for him, the second jumper I've ever made, which is great. The reason it's so big is because when I took the measurements, I wouldn't say I took them wrong, but the tutorial says to take measurements from the biggest part. So I took it from his arm, and because he goes to the gym quite a lot, he don't know the name for it, but he stretched his muscle so that it was the biggest that it could be. So it's probably bigger than that as well, but I did that was the way that I measured it. So it is absolutely it's big, it's very big, and I do tend to err on the side of caution. I'd rather make it too big than too small. Obviously you can do more if it's too big, you can still fit into it. So yeah, this is absolutely massive for him. I would say he's slimmer or similar size to me, and you can see that it's quite big. This was made again using the Emma P tutorial. I think it's called something like Easy Crochet Your Own Sweater, and it was made using the Black Friday yarn, which is 100% acrylic, limited edition, acrylic XL. I did think that this was going to be chunky wool, but I believe that it was similar to DK. I don't know if DK tends to be the same size as chunky, or if there's not much difference in it. But I always see chunky yarn online and it is big, it's very big. But I don't know if I'm just getting the wrong end of the stick, I'm not sure. But yeah, so he loves it. There are still bits that I haven't woven in properly. I thought that if I just did it in and out of the stitches it would stay in, but obviously not. Yeah, there are a few bits, and I think as it's being stretched, as he puts it over his 3 jumpers or whatever, it is just coming out, so I need to weave in the ends properly. But yeah, that took 2 weeks I think of continuous working. It wasn't difficult, the pattern wasn't difficult at all. I think the main thing for me was working with such dark yarn. There's no change in colour, so there's nothing to look forward to. It's just continuous crochet, 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 crochet. Yeah, so that was it for me. It wasn't a particularly interesting make. It wasn't boring, but it just wasn't it didn't capture my attention really. It wasn't exciting. I didn't look forward to doing it. I was looking forward to finishing it. But yeah, so that is that. I've probably got some footage of it somewhere. I'll see if I can put it up. But it's made in 4 parts, so 1 arm, well, 2 arms even, a front, a back, and I made the collar separate as well. Just because, as I said before, I don't know how much yarn each project makes. Each project uses even. So I made the collar before I finished the back, just so if I didn't have enough I could sort of pull back a row so that they matched, if that makes sense. If you're a crocheter, hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, so that was the big make. Also obviously trying to go stashless, I wanted to use up quite a lot of my ends. So some of the scrap wool I had was chunky, and it is Shetland tweed chunky from when I made quite a few hats over, I think, November, December sort of time. So this is like one of my favourite yarns. I've definitely used this the most. I bought a couple of balls for myself before the start of the 3rd lockdown, I think. But yeah, so using the leftovers, I made 2 granny squares. So this is obviously using the grey and the blue as well, which is this beautiful colour. And I haven't blocked these yet, I haven't done the ends. You'll see this month there's a theme of not weaving in my ends yet. So there's 2, and these were really easy. Obviously granny squares don't take long to do at all. Yeah, I finished these, and they will be some easy coasters. I've also had my blue very matching candle on these. The candle is in a very thick jar, so I'm not going to set a light to my house anytime soon, hopefully. But yeah, these were the first things. So these got rid of most of my chunky leftovers. I also made these gloves. So I have still got stitch markers in there because I was thinking of doing the pattern. The The reason I haven't is one, time, but also because I was using scrap yarn, I'm not in love with them. So you can see that I've got the white wool around the finger, and I've also got it around here just to match, really. And although I like the design, I need a thumb, which I didn't have enough for, and I thought that it would just be too much. It would just be too much if I had like the grey and the blue were the only other colours that I had in the chunky wool. So to have like a blue finger or a grey finger along with the white and the orange, it was just too much. So what I think I'm going to do is, you can see the stitch markers where I've marked the increases. I've marked different things. What I think I'm going to do is unpick them at some point when I get the courage, or I will buy another ball of the orange and finish them properly. Because I do love these and I would wear them, but with the white yarn, I don't love them. Honestly, I don't. I don't know if I said this, but I haven't used a pattern for these. I just made it up with increases, decreases, different things. Yeah, these were quite a quick make. I think I started them quite late in the evening, so it did take a little while. But I might even write up the pattern, sell it, or put it on Ravelry for free. I'm not sure yet. I don't know how to write up patterns, so hopefully I can look up some tutorials or something. I don't know. But yeah, those were my finished makes. Yeah, my thumbs would get freezing, but what I was thinking is you can text, which is a problem I have. If I'm trying to take a picture, I can't take a picture unless I use my fingers, which makes me feel like, I don't know, I'm a lot older than what I am. Let's put it that way. So those are finished. They were easy to make. They again use the Shetland tweed chunky. What I think I'm going to do is buy another ball so that I can finish these properly, and so that I will wear them, because I will love them and they will go with the rest of my set. Talking about these, it's made me remember a project that I had forgotten to get, so I'm just going to grab that now and I'll be back in literally a sec. Hello, I'm back. Right, so the other project I made with these, I had two skeins of the orange Shetland tweed. This was the other one. Sorry if I'm a bit out of breath, I'm not very fit at the moment. So this is just a scarf. I made my brother a grey scarf just like this, and I loved his so much that I just wanted to make another one. This one is made with half double crochets, and I made it sort of as a long rectangle of fabric. I made it into a long rectangle, and then I joined it together at the side because it was a lot wider than what I needed it, and then I attached the buttons. So I really like it, and it's lovely because it's quite long as well. I can fit it under my coat because my coat is quite low, the buttons, so this fits into my coat or into my jumper or whatever I'm wearing, and it keeps my chest warm. Yeah, I love it. The fact that I used old buttons as well, I've been saving these for ages. These used to be off, can't really see it, there we go. So it's sort of like a crest. These used to be off of a dress I loved when I was younger. Sorry if you can't see it properly. It's nice that I can reuse them, because before that I've just had them sat in a box. and obviously I hadn't used them. So they're lovely. So I've got those to match my scarf and my hat as well, if you've seen any other episodes as well. What was I going to say? Again, going back to the hand mitts, whatever you want to call them, I would want to buy some new buttons as well. I use the yellow ones, don't like the yellow, so yeah, that's just me being very honest. So yeah, that's what I don't like about them, but I'm really impressed that I managed to make them without a pattern. I did look at following some patterns, but they just seem really complicated online. I'm quite impatient. I'd rather, if I can figure it out myself, I'd rather do it. It did involve a lot of ripping it back, frogging, different things like that, but I got there in the end. The next thing I made with leftovers was these. Again, sorry I haven't woven in my ends, it's not completely finished, I need to put a button on it. This. So you might wonder what on earth this is, what the heck it is. It is a cafetière cozy. So this is actually put on the wrong way. I don't know why it makes a difference, but it does. So this, obviously, you wrap the bigger bit around, put the long bit, wraps around it twice, and button it up, and it keeps it warm for longer than if you didn't have one. So this is Hobbycraft Catch a Wave yarn. I don't know the colourway. It was out of stock when I looked last. And this is Hobbycraft. I'm not sure of the name of it, but it is acrylic as well. This is acrylic as well. So yeah. And then obviously it's got the button on it. So the other two I've made, they one is the same. I had this Catch a Wave yarn left and I loved it, and I had no idea what to do with it because I only had one ball. So that's what I did with it. And that is just the sort of a beige acrylic. So again, I need to attach buttons and sew in the ends. But weaving in the ends is so boring when you've got so much that you could do. And this is the other one I made, so I had a little bit more left. So that's what it'll eventually look like. This is cotton, unbleached cotton. So yeah, I think it's Robin is the brand. So I really like those, and the pattern recommended to use cotton, but again I had this left over and it seemed like the perfect use for it, because this is sort of coffee colour. You know, some people have their coffee black, some have it milky, some have it very milky. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but yeah, that's the pattern. That's another project I finished. That finished two skeins. It finished the Catch a Wave and it finished the white Hobbycraft acrylic, or the beige. So those are finished. That pattern was from How to Crochet. I think it's a DK book. I'll have it linked if I can find where I put it. And this is the last, sort of cheating, last finished object. So I did finish this in one of the last podcasts, and I said I would turn it into a cushion, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it, to be honest, to sew this onto some fabric so that the stuffing wouldn't come out of the holes in the pattern. Sorry, if I keep on looking outside, it's to see whether my dad's come back yet. The house is currently empty, they've gone shopping. But I'm trying to get this done without distractions before they come back. my dad is a prolific whistler and singer, so when he comes back you'll probably hear the whistling in the background, which is great. Doesn't help me concentrate though, and it's a little bit distracting. But anyway, again, can you tell I'm excited to be doing this again? Yes, so this was a Lottie and Albert pattern. I did pattern test this for her. I can't remember exactly the name of the pattern, but I'll have it below. But yes, the pattern does have, it's for a blanket. So it has some holes in it, which look great as the design. It looks really nice as the crosses in the middle. But to sew it into a cushion would mean that the stuffing would come out of the holes. So if I was to make it into a cushion that was that size, I would have to sew it to some grey fabric or some white fabric or whatever, and then put the cushion insert in the middle. But because of the size that I'd made it, it was a really awkward size. I looked on Amazon for ages. I looked on different websites to try and find a cushion that was exactly or near enough to the inch size for this cushion, and I couldn't find one. So I just went with an average square cushion, sewed it in the middle, and it's done. And I'm happy because I spent about 10 minutes, 15 minutes sewing this very precisely to the cushion, instead of 20 minutes, half an hour or so of unpicking a cushion, sewing it to the right size, sewing fabric to the back of this, sewing the pillow. Yeah, it was just much less of a faff. And now everyone can see the amazing work that I completed, because this was, for me, this was quite difficult, because it had so many different stitches in it, and I'm not usually one to count, which is really bad, but I usually zone out while I'm crocheting, which in this pattern you can't. But the pattern is available on her website, and I love the little bobble detail as well. So yeah, that is that's the finished cushion. Right, so I've gone through my finished makes. I'm going to go through my whips. So the first whip that I'm going through at the moment, it's not my dad. If you've watched this for a while, you will see that I'm a lover of the Ron Strong My First Crochet Sock tutorial. So that is that's the pattern I'm using at the moment, Ron Strong. And this is what I'm doing at the moment. So this is merino wool. I bought this when I went away to the Cotswolds. I wanted to buy some yarn while I was away, and this was the one that I found. I know that it's not from the Cotswolds, but this was the one I liked, and I thought it would be easy to use in a project, which it is. I was saving it for something special, but I only bought one ball, and it's just, if I save all the yarn that I like until I find a project good enough, I'm never going to use any of it. So that's what I've done. And this is reclaimed wool, which you'll see. It was from a jumper. Again, I will link the shop below. I love the colour of this yarn. I'm nearly on the heel part of this sock. The other one I'm not nearly there yet. I had to pull it back because I wasn't concentrating enough. Story of my life. Yes, so this one I'm just about to go into the heel section. This one, obviously, I've got a few more stripes to go. I've got a few more stripes to go. So with this yarn, as I was saying, I love the colours of it. It's sort of a maroon colour, burgundy. Is it burgundy? I think sort of a reddy dark reddy. I think it's maroon, but I'll go with dark reddy. It's a beautiful colour, and it's got the white in there as well, which means that it's sort of speckled. It's random. It's a random colourway, which I love. And it's nice to work with as well. The only thing I would say is because it's reclaimed, it's more difficult to work with. Some bits are fatter than others. It won't concentrate now. Won't focus, not concentrate. God, my words are not working. They never do. So here you can see maybe this bit is a bit fatter, which is fine within the project, but it means that at points I could do with using a bigger hook. Obviously that would alter the size of the sock, the pattern. So sometimes it is quite difficult to work with, because you can't work with it loose. You've got to pull it so that it's straight, and even when you pull it straight, it does have fatter bits and thinner bits, because that's just the nature of it. So it's sort of a love-hate relationship. Well, it's not really a hate relationship, but it is more difficult than using just normal unused wool. So yeah, the white wool that I've used, the shade is Natural, and it's by woolyknitcrafts.com. It's 4-ply, and I'm really looking forward to finishing them. I'm not sure whether I'll have enough white for a heel, or I think I'm going to do some stripes on the just above the ankle. Not sure what that's called. Is it called the calf? This bit here, along the ankle. So yeah, that will be fun. I'm sort of doing that between my other projects. Obviously I was focusing mostly on getting the jumper done as soon as I could. So yeah, so that was my main concentration taker. The next project that I've been working on quite a bit, it is a Hobbii twister yarn. It is 55% cotton, 45% acrylic, and I've had this project for ages. So I did originally, it's not blocked and it is wonky, just for the disclaimer. I originally had this white bit done, and I was following a pattern by, oh, I can't remember now. I can't remember the name of the tutorial, but it's a flower shawl was what I was working on, and this up to this little white bit here, that's where I got to, and I'd been putting it off. The shawl, the finished shawl looks beautiful. I can't fault it. It looks great. But every time I'd go on it, she has a written pattern and she has a video tutorial. And again, both of them are easy to understand. But I don't know what it was, but I just could not, I couldn't do it. Bless me. Oh, sorry for that. Yeah, I just had it sat there for ages, and I kept looking at it and I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, because I love the pattern, I love the finished shawl. It looks beautiful, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get around to doing it. I even put the tutorial on last week. I think it was around Monday, and I sat down and I said, right, I need to get all of these whips done, or I need to be working on them so I can start more projects. And I sat down with it and I got to the exact point where I'd stopped before, and again I just couldn't follow the pattern. I looked at the tutorial, I couldn't follow that, and I looked at the pattern, I couldn't understand that. I think it's just my mind doesn't work like that. Don't ask me what it does work like if I understand written patterns, I can't understand visual tutorials, but I just couldn't get my mind around it. So long story short, I decided to just do my own thing and do double crochets. So it's worked up pretty quickly, obviously because it's a thin yarn. I think it's a 4-ply. It's lace weight, I think. Nearly lace weight. Because it's thin, it takes a lot longer than you think. So this is sort of not continuous, but this is 4 days work, 2 days work even. Okay, so it's working up beautifully. I love it. I love the colours of it, and it does work into sort of a sunset colour. There we go. So it goes orange, pinky, and then into the blue. Yeah, into the dark blue. So it will look like a sunset and it will be beautiful when it's finished. But it'll take quite a while to finish, and that's okay. The way I'm getting the increases I am doing an increase in every corner. So I'm doing 2 double crochets in each end stitch. I'm doing a double crochet here in the middle, and then I'm chaining 3 to get that sort of effect in the middle. Wilma, I think the lady's name is, she did a tutorial on how to do a simple shawl as well. So this was taking inspiration from her. I think Wilma is definitely the lady. If Wilma is her name, Wilma is the lady who also did the flower shawl patterns, which were great. I just couldn't get my head around it, and I thought it's better to do a easier, maybe less beautiful shawl pattern and actually get it done than to do a complicated one that's going to be sat on the side forever. And I couldn't bring myself to frog it either, because I did such a good job, if I do say so myself. I did a good job of the first, I think it was 8 rows. So yeah, that is my shawl. So that is my second whip. My third whip, which I have just sort of landed myself in, I'm working on a continuous granny square blanket. I won't show you that because it's boring, and all that's changed is it's got a bit bigger. But when I first got this, the yarn is called Hayfield Spirit. When I first got it, I started making granny squares because I wanted to make a granny square blanket, but I got bored. So I came across this idea, I don't know why. I found my collection of granny squares the other day, and I'd made 4 big ones because I don't know, because I did. So I came across them the other day, and I laid them out and I put them on top of my jumper that I'd made. The simple one. It's like my partner's but smaller, obviously. It's my size. And I found that I had the perfect sort of size to make myself a jumper out of it. Now, if you've seen many of my tutorials before, vlogs before, podcast before, third time lucky. If you've seen many of my podcasts before, you will see that I'm not necessarily a really bright, colourful person. I like muted tones more, but I love the colours of this, and it will be a very out there jumper. That would be either the front or the back. I think that would be the back because I prefer the middle of this one. I think this was the first one that I did, and I just love it. I love that it starts yellow in the middle and it gets darker on the way out. So yeah, and what I'm planning on doing with that is, so that's the front panel. That'll be the front, obviously. Maybe add a collar, probably not, if I'm being honest. With the arm, I'm going to do it double crochet down the side as I did my other arm, and I'm going to put granny squares in sort of rainbow colours down the top of the arm, if that makes sense. So I have got a few sort of granny squares that I need to do the outside of, but so I'll start probably yellow and I'll work the colours down, because it is sort of a muted rainbow colourway. And where I've frogged some of the other designs, I've got all of this left over. I can't show you. So hopefully I'll have enough in here to do a rainbow, because I've found that there's more yellow in the colourway than any other colour. Don't know if that's a normal thing or whether I've just been staring at the colourway too long. I'm not sure, but I have found that there's more yellow in it than, say, pink or blue or purple. You can sort of see that with this jumper panel. But yeah, so the way I'm going to do it is, obviously I've tried to make it sort of go around in a colour, if that makes sense. So with the purple at one corner, I'll do that the same for the back. So I'll put this purple at the corner and sort of match it up like that, if that makes sense. Have I said if that makes sense too much now? Probably. But yeah, that was sort of a last minute project that I started last night. But I'd done a lot of the work anyway, because I'd done the because I'd already done the granny squares. So yeah, that is a project that's ongoing at the moment. What was I going to say about that? Can't remember. Can I remember? Yeah, so that's ongoing at the moment. So that's my third project. I also, at the beginning of this year, since the last podcast, I went on Gumtree and I found some yarn for sale. So these came as a pack, and there's 15 of them, so I won't show you all of them. There's 15 of them, and some of the colours I like, some of them I don't. They came as a group, so you don't obviously get to choose them, but they were for a really good price. It was £10, which is fine. I found some that were maybe in Kent on Gumtree, which were beautiful. They were pretty much brand new, but they were for £3 each. So if you think I got 15, I got them for a lot less than that. And I've measured them, and this probably sounds quite sad. I measured the weight of them to see how much I had. I have 2.6 kilograms, which is crazy, because you never get wool for that much. So as I said, some of the colours I like, some of them I don't particularly. Not really a fan of that. It's sort of a peachy and a grey. But again, with my Stashes 2020, it doesn't, you know, I will probably be giving some of this away, because I don't love all of it, and if I'm not going to use it, there's no point in keeping it. But I signed myself up to a pattern test with Handmade by Joe. He's 15 years old. He's amazing. I haven't spoken to him much, but he dyes his own yarn and he's got patterns out as well. And at 15 I couldn't even imagine doing any of that. Not that I was crocheting, but I was too busy probably playing with Barbies or out with friends, or I don't know what I was doing at 15. Not writing patterns, I know that. I was going to use my faux fur, which is beautiful, and I was saving it for a jumper, but I haven't got enough wool. And it's from Ice Yarns, which if you've heard of it or if you've used it before, the wool takes ages and ages and ages to come through, and I don't think it would arrive here by the time he needs the pattern tested by. So what I am going to do is hold probably 2 of these together. Obviously if I get gauge with them, if I can meet gauge with them, that would be great, because when I saw these advertised, I just thought how great it would be to make a jumper. It's a cheaper way to make a jumper, and I think this is DK weight. It says it's 4-ply, and I think for the pattern that Joe has got, you can double up the yarn. He doubled up the yarn, so I think it would be quite interesting with 2 different shades. And if I run out, I can just use one that's similar in colour. So I could change that to maybe a blue, so have it blue at the top. They would look beautiful together. I think they'd look really nice together, and that would be a good way to use it as well. But yeah, 15 of these cones for £10 was great. It was a dodgy little area though. But the man was lovely. Yeah, didn't go alone. So yeah, that is what I've got coming up. So I'm working on my whips at the moment. Next project, as I said, it's Handmade by Joe pattern test for a jumper. Then it will be making the shorts, and if I've got enough wool to make the top of the pyjamas, I will be making the pyjamas. If not just the shorts. I think I'll probably have just enough to make the shorts. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've planned for next month. But hopefully I can finish a majority of my projects. I'd hope to finish by the end of next month. I'd hope to have finished my jumper, which I'm also doing a tutorial for as I do it. So that will be up as a video as well, hopefully by the end of next month. Yeah, so hopefully I'll be finished my colourful jumper, my granny square jumper. Hopefully I'll be finished my socks. Hopefully my shawl. But my priority is really to get the Handmade by Joe's pattern up. Because I know that there's a time limit on that, whereas finishing my jumper there's not. So yeah, that is really my plan in terms of stuff for the shop. Keep an eye out. If anything, look on my Instagram if you're not following me already. Most of my updates will be on my stories if I have any. I will write up the pattern for the hand warmers, the gloves, at some point. But again, it's not really a priority for me at the moment. I'm spending quite a lot of time looking for jobs. I left work in September last year, which was a good move for me. But now I'm sort of ready to find jobs, and I've been seeing jobs that I really like the look of at the moment. So yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I will get a few interviews. I do get nervous for interviews. My dad's back. I do get nervous for interviews, but I love them as well. Yeah, so hopefully I will get a few interviews, and I'll get a job out of it as well. Fingers crossed. But until then, I'll be working on the pattern. I will probably do a swatch today, or to see if I've got gauge with the 2 colours. I will also be doing some granny squares as well for the jumper. I'm thinking of doing the granny square panel down the arm first, and then sort of double crocheting around it, if I can do that, or do it as a panel maybe and meet the 2. Not entirely sure. But yes, anyway, I feel like this video has lasted a very long time, but also I feel very relieved. Hopefully my partner, my beautiful partner, has worked out how to get the editing software to work. So fingers crossed I will be able to put notes at the bottom of the screen. And that is literally all I want. To cut, to edit, to stick the things together seamlessly, and to put little words at the bottom. So hopefully you'll be able to see it. If not, the tutorial will not be up for a couple of weeks, and I'll probably be crying. My partner's just out the door, my dad's just got back, but I hope you're all well and that you stay well, and I will see you soon. Take care.